Guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to go over one of the trades that I took last week, which was a Cardano long that actually netted me my biggest trade ever. Okay, my biggest risk reward ever is $17,558, and it was this trade here, a trade setup that I gave in the Nexus, which is my premium network. And I want to go over how I came into this trade, and I want to show you guys that trading doesn't actually need to be difficult. You just need to know what to look for. And again, I do teach you guys what to look for in the Nexus. That's the last time I shill it. 17,558. Let's talk about how we got this trade set up and the execution behind it while this bug is on my ear. Okay, so high time frame stuff. Listen, you always got to start at the high time frame stuff, and you got to be paying attention to what your structure is. A term that I always say every single day in the Nexus that I teach and I preach is when in doubt, structure out. Okay, so let's zoom out to the 4-hour time frame and let's just take a look at what Cardano is doing. When in doubt, structure out. What is your structure on Cardano? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, and then you have break. Okay, immediately you have a high time frame flip, which is telling me that we are very likely going to be coming higher. And what we're looking for on the smaller time frames when we jump down in, which we're going to investigate this section in just a moment, is that we're looking for a higher low to then target a higher high. But we're not blindly targeting a higher high. We need to have context in the market. We need to make sure that things make sense. And if you take a look here, this line, which is called equal highs, you had semi-equal highs on Cardano here at 77 cents, which was ultimately where I was targeting for my long position, as you can see right over here. So we have a lot of buy-side liquidity on the higher term time frames that we can go and tackle. And we must always keep in mind the 3 reasons why price moves. Number 1, to attack liquidity, which is what this did. Number 2, to generate liquidity, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. And number 3, to rebalance and imbalance, which this also did. So let's just jump down on the lower term time frames and understand how we came up with this trade idea. First things first, like I said, on the high time frame, when in doubt, structure out. We know we're looking for a higher low, higher high. Then we're looking for how can we actually enter this idea? How do we know when that higher low, higher high is potentially going to come in on Cardano? And the answer is jumping down to your midterm time frame and looking for a structure flip, whether that's 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, depending on how the structure forms. And you're always going to be paying attention to your return to zone. So not only did we have high time frame buy side liquidity here on the high, right? High time frame. Sorry, I'm using my mouse because I'm outside. But you also had this midterm time frame liquidity being generated to the upside as well. So we have a really beautiful return to zone, a really good high confluence idea, and then it just comes down to the execution of it. Now, as you can see on Cardano, if I pull up a new box, we were forming a range here, okay? On your range, we're looking for a Model 1 or Model 2 accumulation. You're looking for accumulation models in a place that makes sense for that pullback to come in. So let's resort back to our rule. Sorry for flipping and flopping. Let's resort back to our when in doubt, structure out scenario that we're always talking about. Where did your structure actually break? Your structure broke here. This was your break, okay? The last sell to buy, which was this guy here, the last high to the low to the high, that created this break is always going to be the best zone for you to come back into and back test. Okay, so this internal break caused this swing structure break. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope we're following along. So we're immediately looking for that to be our zone in which we're going to get the retest and then the flip and the reconfirmation. Okay, now coming into this range, you can see, or sorry, coming into this zone very clearly, you can see you have your 1 tap, you have your 2 tap, and then they kind of played around with us a little bit in this little range here, in this little manipulative range. But that ultimately could have been your 3rd tap accumulation for price to inevitably go higher. Now, in the attempts of actually executing this trade, I had the idea, by the way, follow me on X, the link's in the description down below and in the comments, because I posted this general idea of this being a PO3 where you have your range, you have your manipulation, and then you have your expansion to the upside. I posted that on X. I'll put the Twitter up, the tweet up right now on the screen, but I posted that on X, so go follow me on there because I do post these ideas from time to time before we actually, take them and perform the execution in the Nexus. But we're looking for an accumulation model. We ended up getting what appeared to be a failed accumulation, and then we formed a PO3, which, like I said, is your range, your manipulation, inducing traders into believing that we're just going to go lower because, oh, we broke the support and now you're backtesting the support. People are going to think that you're going to go lower when in reality this is just a trap. It's a standard retail trap to then shift price to the upside. But When in doubt, structure out, because structure will always give us the answer. So let's structure out. You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, and you have high. Okay, so this internal break, okay, we're gonna make this light blue. This mid time frame break that we had here, we're on the 30-minute, we're going to go 30-minute time frame. This 30-minute break right now is telling us that this higher time frame block is likely going to hold. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Your high time frame flipped bullish. Your mid time frame, which is this light blue now, confirms that this block is going to hold. It doesn't mean that the low is going to hold, although it is likely. It more so means that the block is likely to hold. Okay, beautiful. When in doubt, structure out. After you get your break of structure, you're expecting a higher low to then make a higher high, no different than we just did on our high time frame. The reason why this was a swing trade is because your swing structure flipped bullish, and this was your first retest of your midterm time frame structure that just flipped back to bullish as well. So now, as soon as you get that, we got to start playing the game. Now, I have a confession, because this trade was a little bit poorly executed. Although the idea was there, I did have a little bit of poor execution, and we're going to go over it right now. But I want to remind you all that just because you're good at TA doesn't mean that you're good at trading, okay? You got to get good at the execution as well. And every single week, I go back and I look at all my trades. I look at all my poor executions, and I'm always looking to improve. And there's always room for improvement. There's always a lesson to be learned. Even me, someone that's been doing this for years now, there's always something that you can do better. We're human. We make mistakes. And in this exact example, I made a mistake. So while being able to identify the fact that we came into this high time frame zone, being able to identify that we had a higher time frame PO3, right? This was your range, this was your manipulative range, this box here, to then push to the upside, I was able to actually enter this trade a lot more aggressively than most people. Not only did we have a, we'll call it high time frame PO3, but we also had a very local PO3, where you can see that just right over here, you're forming a lot of liquidity to the highs. You broke down, you form what appears to be a Model 2 accumulation, which actually ends up being a PO3. This is your TP1. You break above it, sayonara. Okay, so I actually entered the trade initially right over here. Okay, I entered initially right over here. I was in my Cardano long. I was in a beautiful position, and I was up $9,000 right at this point here. Remember when I said I had a poor execution of the trade? Technically speaking, if I just stuck to the rules and I kept my stop loss below that low, which makes sense, I would have had a lot more of a higher P&L than my 1755, whatever it was, right? But my problem specifically is patience, and my problem is, man, the round tripping lately is just out of this world. And I've been round tripping quite a lot because the market's been so choppy. And because I've been putting on big position size, I get very emotional regarding the P&Ls, right? Like being up $9,000 and then round tripping 8.5K of that. I don't think, oh, I'm up 500. I think I just lost 8.5K. So that's something that I need to work on, and I actually am going to be making a video. Let me know if in the comments down below if you want this kind of video. But April, I've been very vocal about this. April was not a good month for me in terms of P&L. I actually broke even. Actually, not even. I took a little bit of a loss in April, but it was an all-time high for me in terms of trading development. So if you guys want to see more of the trading development, the mindset, the psychology part of it, not necessarily just this kind of technical execution side, which we're going to still do, but if you guys want to see that side of it, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, so I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we just round tripped, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't take profit where I have to take profit. The thing with the way that I trade specifically and what I teach in the Nexus is when you enter a trade, which we can get very high risk to rewards. This trade objectively, like it was a 25.65 risk to reward trade. We don't get these every week, but they're frequent enough to, you get 2 of these, 3 of these a month, and you're pretty good, right? So when you get these kind of trades, you have to take profit aggressively because you're going in big capital, right? Risking 1% on a 25 risk to reward is a lot different than risking 1% on a 2 risk to reward. So I made the mistake of not taking profit where I should. I made the mistake of sleeping because it seems like all the good moves happen during London, during at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. my time. We obviously rolled over. And this is where the execution, I had poor execution rather. So because I was up 9K and then I just round tripped 8.5K, and because I am using bigger numbers, it's very hard for me to practice what I preach, in that when I say don't focus on the dollar amount, focus on the percentages. The percentages are always going to lead you a better we'll call it mindset, better trade management. You're not going to FOMO in or FOMO out or get scared or have fear, because we as humans are not attached to a percentage. We're attached to the dollar amount, right? So if I tell you, oh, I lost $8,000, that means something to you. But if I tell you I lost 30%, that doesn't really mean, like, 30% of what? Nobody knows, right? Whereas 8,000, you have your relation to 8,000. I have my relation to 8,000. Money is an emotional thing. Money runs the world literally. So you have to try to detach from all that. And that's something that I've been unable to do, especially with the bigger numbers, right? With the smaller numbers, I'm fine. With the bigger numbers, I'm like, man, I just round tripped $8,000. Like, that's a lot of money. Anyway. So I round tripped. I didn't take profit where I needed to. Poor execution on my end. However, in the Nexus, we still had this trade, and we're going to go over it, and it's very simple. I'm going to show you that trading doesn't need to be complicated. It can be. You can make it hard, but I trade very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated, and I teach you how to do this. So when in doubt, structure out. What do you have? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have break, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have break. Okay, so what was the last sell to buy that caused this structure? No different than we just did on the high time frame, right? This internal break caused this higher time frame break. So this zone right here is where I'm looking to long it. And once again, you're just playing the game all over again. So let's just jump down to the fractal time frames. And this is, by the way, guys, how I get these very big risk to reward trades. This is how we get these Nexus trades. These trades, I call them Nexus trades. This is how I get it, right? So I know the zone that I'm looking in. I know what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for my structure confirmation. This gray box is the box that we're looking for. And then once again, we're going to play the game. When in doubt, structure out. What do we have? We have low, we have high, we have low, we have high, we have low, we have break. So what does that mean? That means that you're looking to long, and at some point you got to just pull the trigger. You can't just keep looking for breaks until you're blue in the face. You got to just go for it and put your stop loss where your stop loss is supposed to be. I just spat all over my MacBook. But right here, objectively, this break is telling you that this low should hold. Why does this low make sense to hold? Well, we already mitigated every zone that we needed to do. We hit a high time frame zone. We trapped the traders into thinking that we were going to go lower, and we have liquidity to the upside. So this is a Nexus trade. This is an A+ setup. Absolutely. Came back down to retest that level, and then even if you were still, for whatever reason, not content with all of the market structure flips and all of the confirmations that you had on Cardano, you even had, I don't know why it always makes me go like way back and not where we were when I change time frames, but even still, right? You had the break. We're going to put a box over the break. I know there's a lot of boxes, but go back and watch this video if you need to. Stick with me. When in doubt, structure out. Do I sound like a broken record yet? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have break. Okay? Boom. Mark it in. See you later. And that's really ultimately how I got this 25 risk reward trade. This was a setup that was given in the Nexus, and you know, we wrote it up, and it was very simple. It was a very obvious trade. It was very easy. Again, trading is not easy. Don't let anyone tell you that trading is easy, but trading is easier when you know what to look for. And the truth about the internet is there's a lot of nonsense out there, and I know you know what I'm talking about because everyone experiences it. Anyway, so I got into my trade, okay? And I will say this, again, because I was emotional about the round tripping the first time, I ended up taking profit way earlier than I should have on this trade because I didn't trust it. We've been in round trip city. I didn't want a round trip. I was like, you know, again, emotional putting these big position sizes, which I will make a video about. And as a result, I took profit where I needed to take profit, which was here. This is a non-negotiable take profit. And then I took profit, you know, aggressively along the way, when in reality, when we did our plan, as per the morning stream in the Nexus, the plan was the plan, which was to come up to these equal highs at the very minimum, okay? Now, by the time we made our way up to these equal highs, I did take quite a bit of profit out, and so my average exit, I think it was like 72 cents or something, when if I just held it, and especially if I held it just on the first trade, this would have netted me about maybe a $55,000 or $60,000 trade in one trade. And that's why I say, you know, I say to the Nexus all the time, like, we don't need to be the people that trade, you know, take 5 trades a day. Just wait for the one Nexus trade, hammer that home, and then make 50K, you know. Let's just say that happens once or twice a week. You do the math. Now, they don't always end up being 25 risk reward. So please don't take this as like me advertising is that we're always going to get that. You know, if you decide to join, we're probably not going to get a 25 risk reward, you know, this week, for example. But they do come from time to time, and they do pay out very well. And when they're really, really good setups like this one, this was a Nexus trade all day. When you get these trades, these are the ones that you could really control your narrative, which is the tagline for the Nexus. Another trade that I had, which I dropped the ball on, is an Ethereum long. I longed Ethereum, and I also posted this on Twitter. So again, go follow me. I longed 300 ETH right here at 1497, and had I held that up the whole way, that would have been a $300,000 trade. Guys, you gotta understand, I came from nothing. I don't have $300,000. Okay, but to get that in one trade and to build the confidence in being able to trade that way, that is priceless. So am I mad about missing 300K? Not at all. Am I mad about missing 50K on ADA? Not at all, because the next time it happens, I'll be able to hit it hard. And because I went through April, which was a very development month for me, that's what's going to compound my gains later on and get my mental straight, because the analysis is there, but the analysis is only one part of it. If you guys want me to make a video similar to this one about this Ethereum long, I will do the exact same thing for you. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want more psychological videos, I'm going to start doing those a lot more. I think I like to do those. I think the TA is easy. You know, I stopped going live every week, and I cut the schedule because we're all looking at the same thing anyway, but this is the stuff that's really going to help you learn. You know, I could come on live and talk nonsense and waste everybody's time when nothing's really happening in the market, but I could alternatively spend the time to make these kind of videos, these recap videos, and actually help you understand how am I actually entering the trades, the side of trading that YouTube doesn't see. You know, everybody sees when it's already said and done. Nobody sees it actually happening in real time, at least not that I'm seeing. Like, how did I enter the trade? What was I looking for? Why did I enter here? What was my trade management? Why did I cut some here? Why did I TP here? What was I thinking here? These are the kind of trades that I like to do, and really the psychological stuff, because I feel like for me, even as a growing trader, trading is a journey. I'm not at the finish line. I don't think there's a finish line. Even for me, someone that's been doing it for years, someone that has a channel with 12,000 followers, and by the way, I thank every single one of you guys for subscribing to me. I'm still on my journey. I'm still looking to push and progress. And for me right now, my struggle is adding that extra zero. So my trades went from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, and now I'm trying to push it to tens of thousands of dollars. And I am ultimately, you know, struggling to do that. So let me know if you guys want me to keep you guys in the loop with what I uncover in regards to getting over that hump. Let me know if you are getting in that hump. I know I'm telling you guys to let me know a lot of things in the comments, but let's get the comment section going and flowing. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, that was my ADA trade, my biggest P&L of all time. I'm very proud of it. I'm not very proud of my execution, but it's a learning opportunity. So I'm not proud of my execution, I still got the trade, which was good. I still made 17K, which is a lot of money. And you know, it's a learning exercise. And now we will apply what we learned in this trade and every other trade moving forward. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button. Only if I deserve your like. If I don't deserve it, don't hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go enjoy my day. You guys have an amazing day yourselves. If you would like to join the Nexus, which is my premium network, you get access to myself, you get access to my morning streams every morning, you get access to my live real-time updates, you get access to my trade setups, you get to know exactly what I'm doing. I'm sitting short on Bitcoin right now. You get to know all of it. The link for that is in the description down below. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.